We alive. We alive.
Hey. We go inside, and when things come into reality, it doesn't scare me. I just realize it's all the growth, and I don't envy anybody in my reality. I'm showing love, and because I know that love is shown back to me. So I just try to embody. Yeah, man. You're jamming with the modern day shamans. Welcome to the Modern Day Shamans podcast, where we take you on a journey making the ancient old brand new, providing you with conscious content, and of course, focusing on all things uplifting and elevating your vibration. Ja Rastafaro. It's the original Rastafaro coming to you live from the Modern Day Shamans podcasting room. You know, we're always here bringing you those vibes, bringing you those materials, those tools, those stories that are going to help you lift that vibration and upgrade onto that next level, because that's what we're all about here. So, you know, today is no different. Even though we don't have our other resident shaman, Brian Carew, here, he's traveled. Like, this guy travels all the time. Like, he talks about this life, like he wants to be living this kind of traveling, teaching life, and he's out there doing it. So big ups to that guy right there. Shout out Carew Movement. We're going to be holding it down for you here. But today we got a powerful one again. I love it. We got my brother, Mark Roman, here. And how's it going, Mark?
Hey, it's going so well, brother. Tuned in, vibing high, and I'm just thankful that we synergized at this time.
Thankful. We met through a mastermind group, basically an ambassador training group.
Ambassador training, Secret Energy.
Exactly, with Savan Bomar, who was on our podcast around episode 5 of season 1. And, you know, Mark stuck out to me from the very beginning, just as like a powerful force, you know, like just like he had that centered vibe, like just grounded, and just how he was speaking as I'm keeping in tune to everything that he's doing, how he's speaking is coming from this powerful place and just so much clarity. And just, you know, I just love that. It's like something to be attracted to, you know, we're attracted to talents. So, you know, once, you know, I was always just keeping my eye on him. And then once we had the opportunity to bring Mark on, we had to jump on that and share these vibes with y'all.
Hey, I'm thankful, man, and thank you for that, because I'm so honorable. You know, it's just a pleasure to be here, brother. Like, just really connect, really synergize. The tribe is large, and so all these connections, they keep popping up at the perfect time, and I just know we're in divine alignment. So we're connected, and that grounding aspect, that's what I try to do with everything, and I think that's something that's the reason why we ended up in this fitness industry, is grounding everything we've learned.
Exactly. So let's get right into I've been wanting to hear this story about you going out to Costa Rica to go visit Savan in the lab, like not even in the lair.
Straight out there in the lab. He's always at it, brother. Like, whenever I feel like I need a barometer, a standard for how hard I need to be going, you know. But when I say hard, I just mean the amount of effort being put forth and on all the levels, like the way he thinks things through all the way, and then is not afraid to take those 1,200,000 steps in between each project. Like, watching that happen in real time, it was, man, expansive, inspiring, uplifting. And the fact that he goes at it with motivation every day, like he's lit up. It's passion, you know. He's not over there just just slump in the chair going, you know what I'm saying? So maybe I should provide a little backstory, a little context. But basically, so this whole thing was synergized. I had felt like we were going to make it out to Costa Rica at some time. And I had actually had a dream that Savan invited us out there. And right after that, Naya was talking to Jeanette, and Jeanette basically invited us out. And Jeanette is Savan's wife. And so, synergized, boom. They were saying Jeffrey's coming out. Jeffrey, another brother from the tribe, is coming out there in about 3 weeks. And if we could make it at the same time, it would be awesome, because they don't want to just be, they can't take 2 weeks off, basically. You know, there's so many things going on. You can't take 2 weeks off. So we basically decided we're going to come at the same time as Jeff. And man, did it align. I put all my manifestation power into that. To make sure that happened, you know what I'm saying? So it was just so synced up, so aligned. And it was its own adventure. You know, the whole thing has just been, it's been a ride, a journey, you know what I'm saying? And then so all these little steps in between, connecting from how we got from New York City, how I went from watching Savan on YouTube to being in his home within a couple months, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's powerful, man. It's
powerful. Hard to find, almost lost within certain depths of like going deep into consciousness and going deep into spirituality and still having that heartfelt human connection. It was such a balance and inspiring to me, just like, yo, we could do this thing. Like, we just need to all get the example, you know what I'm saying? Become that and take it to that next level. And that's why upgrading, it's all about upgrading. Everything around us is upgrading and evolving. And we're just being asked to do the same thing. When I realized what's possible, it's just like this self-love, this knowing of your self-worth, this knowing of your power, and not asking for anything less, because you don't have to. And actually, like, you're worth so much more than that. Like, you could really, like, when I think of, again, a barometer, a standard, you know what I'm saying, to embody the blueprint, like, I keep referring back to what kind of vibrations was I picking up just being in that space?
It's rare that we see someone who's just like a living example. And that's how I live my life. Like, I want to be a living example in everything that I do. It's not saying I'm going to be perfect, but I just want to be showing that at least I'm thriving. I'm going towards, that goal. I'm going towards that balance. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I just want to embody it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just teach it by showing it, because we do a lot of talking. Let's embody it.
Like, how did you kind of come along to get kind of where you are right now? Or, tell us a little bit about this journey that you've been on.
Yes, man. Really, the last year and a half, I started diving deep into my meditation practice and focusing on self-healing. And through that first experience, I literally had an online guided meditation from a brother named Shalom Melchizedek. And he's still my mentor, my brother today. But that one session, man, I learned so much about myself and how powerful affirmations are, how powerful regret is, and how shame lives in the body. So essentially, just to give you that crash course to just condense the story, I basically had periungual warts, which are just finger warts all across the tops of my fingers. And so it would basically almost eat into my fingernails.
Okay.
It started with one and expanded to like 3 each finger over the course of about 4 years, right? So I had this in college, and then now I'm a personal trainer. So it's embarrassing, you know what I'm saying? You don't feel like you could touch your clients. You don't feel like you could even touch the girl I was dating at that time. You know what I'm saying? It's really something that you lock yourself away from people, you know what I'm saying, on that physical level, especially somebody like me who likes to touch. It's just like you get cut off, you know what I'm saying? So from that experience, I went a whole bunch of remedies trying to find the answers to how to heal these things. And at one day I just asked myself, what does this feel like? Like, what do these warts feel like? And what I had was that they feel parasitic. They have their own life. They have their own energy. They keep perpetuating on top of each other. When there's times where my immune system is weak, they take the moment to strike, and they would expand and get hot. And in that hotness, it was a caustic. It was cutting. It's like, it felt like guilt. So with that in mind, I just saw this brother Shalom on IG, and I reached out to him and just said, I'll do a healing session with you. And basically just got on the Skype, went through some affirmations. I love myself completely. I trust myself completely. I forgive myself completely. And on that third one, the heart broke. You know what I'm saying? Like, I forgive myself completely. Just realized that I had so much weight I was carrying over myself, how hard I was holding, how much I just haven't let go, specifically to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, specifically the ways in which I was judging myself, criticizing myself. All of that type of critical energy was high. It was caustic, and it was in the hands, in the skin. So the way I connect with people, so this basically, I'm taking it too deep right now, but
Yeah, I like it. No, we can go as deep. We can dive
yes.
deep right now, man.
Yes.
Let's go.
Bro, so I when I heard I forgive myself completely, it felt like I was lying to myself immediately. And I just started leaking and tears just flowing. These streams were flowing. And I realized that I had a lot of guilt in relationship to my previous relationship at the time. So I was actually going through the ending of a relationship. And in that ending, I actually learned a lot about detachment. And then that second phase though was just how much damage I've done to myself. And the solution showed itself in the form of forgiveness. And so letting it go. Forgiveness is the next stage of the detachment.
Yeah.
And that forgiveness is literally wiping the slate clean every time. Every time, wiping the slate clean, and you're always off the hook. So it's just like this complete release from the whole story at large, the whole story of your life. And there's levels to that. You know what I'm saying? There's roles that you play in life. So I was on this forgiveness frenzy. Like I was forgiving everything. I was going through deep meditations, doing inner child meditations, going deep into just like that divine feminine work of like nurturing self, loving on self, those positive affirmations every morning, cleaned up my diet. It was just a process, and I was in love with it. And then this was about a month in. One day I look at my thumb, and there's just one wart is just completely gone, like just gone. I was just like, wow. So I came so involved in the process, I forgot about the original result I was looking for.
Yes.
And that getting involved in the process is what like that was the most fun, because I'm learning so much about myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like the whole backstory that I haven't been tuning into. So that's my way in. That just like released so much stuff. I've always been into personal development, always been into philosophy, always been into science and understanding energy and understanding our potential, because I've always felt like we don't utilize our potential. Like for everything that we can accomplish and do, how much is being invested in each being, you know what I'm saying? And how much are we doing that for ourselves? So this was a natural progression of things. And I just realized like, I got to take care of myself. Like if I'm not even capable of being, at this time, this is my thinking, I'm not capable of being okay after this relationship, like functioning, then there's something like configured incorrectly within me. So what do I need to configure? So I need to let go of certain attachments. I need to release dependencies. I got to get closer to myself and understand what's going on in here, and then be honest about that when I communicate to people, especially those close to me. And so that process just woke me up. I met this woman named Evelyn Guerra, who's a teacher in the School of Remembering. And just this past summer, fall in November, it was actually November 11th. And she let me host my first workshop, Muscle Your Reality workshop. And then I told the same story about my way into this on forgiveness on YouTube. And that video was posted in the Ambassador Tribe, and Savan saw that video.
Yeah.
And when he saw that video, he was basically talking about how he saw us in our fully actualized forms in that state.
Yeah.
And in that space, they asked him, "Do you have anything left to forgive?" And then he realized that forgiveness, if we don't let go and realize the whole story, it doesn't even matter. We'll always be cutting ourselves off from ourselves. Somebody, I admire him. So, he teaches you so much, you know what I'm saying? Like just taking all those YouTube stuff. And like, it was just like, I was just really like, just appreciative, you know what I'm saying? But there's some conversations where I had nothing to add. Like I'm talking about, there's not even a question I could ask to add to this conversation. Like that's how deep it's going. So then I was being challenged by myself, because within, I usually want to be the person that knows or has something to add or deliver of an intellectual nature, right? This is part of the personality I've developed for myself. This is what's the natural uniqueness, is to tend to travel to the intellectual spectrum. That's how we present ourselves.
Yes. Right. I want to take it back a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
When you realized that you had these the warts on your finger, and you're saying they were like embodying different emotions, basically,
Yes.
right? Was that something that you felt before you went to the meditation and you had that awareness? And
Yes.
that's kind of what made you want to seek out
Yes.
the shalom?
Yes, exactly. So I had these things for 4 years, like just growing over time.
Mm-hmm.
And over 4 years, I noticed certain patterns. And one of them was that it seems like they have a mind of their own. Like literally when my immune system was low, it was like all of a sudden they started to heat up.
Mm-hmm.
So they essentially felt like this hot caustic heat, like an acidic heat,
Yeah.
right? It's like that burning sensation, but it's under the skin and it's near your fingertips. And so it just had this really hot feeling to it, especially when you're grabbing things, when I'm grabbing weights and stuff and I'm squeezing and you have like creating pressure, you know what I'm saying? So it was this really self-inflicting acidic sort of feeling. And over time, I finally came to the idea, like, what does this feel like? Just asking myself that, you know what I'm saying? Because I went through several home remedies, like trying them, like the over-the-counter stuff. I tried that freezing medicine. I don't remember what it's called right now. I tried apple cider vinegar. I tried the tapes over the warts thing. I tried urine therapy. Mm-hmm. I tried, there was one other thing. Banana peels over the wart and duct taping it. Like so many stuff, man. And even one night there was a blue moon when I was in college and something came over me. I was just staring at it and something came over me. I took a needle and I boiled it and I just started picking out one of these warts, man. I was just like, this thing's gonna go. Mm-hmm. And essentially I pulled it so deep out and it's like fleshy white. And I pulled it so deep out, but basically how they work is that they are intrinsically, they attach themselves to your bloodstream.
Okay.
And so as I was picking it out, it was like opening up my own vessels. Mm-hmm. And so I just wouldn't stop bleeding. It just wouldn't stop. And it just kept bleeding. And, I would plug it, but as soon as I opened it just to take a look, it would just keep going. So basic and like rich blood, it's just like, so yeah, I was like, damn, these things are parasitic. Like these things are like sapping my life force. Yeah. And so taking these concepts, like what kind of thing works like that? What kind of an emotion works like that? Because I was very aware that I'm doing this to myself. Like over time, it became very aware to me that, I subscribed to the Stoic philosophy for a while. Yeah. And basically you aren't hurt unless you allow yourself to be hurt. Mm-hmm. And if I'm experiencing this over such a long period of time, then there's a consistent pattern at play here that I'm not addressing. And what is that pattern? So I was very aware that something is going on, but I just didn't have like a solid hit on the path, where you just didn't have that solid like lead. You know what I'm saying? So that conversation with Shalom, that guided meditation session, that healing session was like, you hit it. And then now you had a path immediately. Like I had a path to walk. Like, let's forgive, let's heal, let's cultivate time with self. Like I was reading so much knowledge and, playing around with meditation, but this just hit me like, boom, like, let's get on it. Yeah. And that just propelled me. That process working with Shalom propelled me, because after that initial process, I asked him if he would basically take me through a process of teaching others meditation. And so we spent 3.5 to 4 months in his meditation mastery pathway. And essentially like, basically by going through my own healing process, we just went deep dive into my own healing process. In that process, I was also being groomed to be a meditation instructor. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was beautiful. Like just kept going deeper and deeper into my healing process, which is accelerating my growth. Yeah. And his wisdom and insight is just potent. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm so thankful for my mentors right now, brother. Like the people in my life choosing to assist me and support me and encourage me. It's meant the world. It's meant everything, because they really accelerate my growth in a way that doesn't deter. Like you could push fast in the wrong direction. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. Going through that self-healing journey.
Yes.
Like the most potent way for us to be able to offer something back out to the reality, right?
Yes.
Is to uncover what's going on really with us and to go through that process ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Straight
powerful.
up.
And in the moment, we're thinking like, why is this happening to me? Like, don't want to have to go through this. But, you know, it's such a blessing to be able to go through that, to put us in the place where we need to go, to discover the information we need to discover and discover what is like, we got it, basically.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. You're being urged, challenged, tested, just to make the leap to address what's holding you back. You know, like they say, that it all comes out in the wash. So as soon as it's time to heal and clean up, all those issues, traumas, habits, patterns, programming, mental beliefs, eidolons, you know, just false structures within consciousness, within yourself, they come out in the wash. Like they're going to show themselves on the way out. And I love the process now. So I'm ready. Like,
love it.
Something shows up. I'm like, yeah, I seen you before. All right, let's go. Like anything, I'm ready just to heal, to process, deprogram, just alchemize, transform on the spot. All about transformation.
Like we're both personal trainers. I
Yes.
don't like the word personal trainer. You know, I feel like it puts us in a box that limits what we really do.
Yes.
But you know, we'll say, you know, we're both personal trainers, and I feel with that extra something. And I would like to know how you integrated all your healing, all your journey, and what you've been like embodying. How are you kind of meshing that with your personal training?
Yes. So first thing is, it's a work in progress. It's always, I'm still in the position of transitioning from basically an old way of training to a new way of training, because this is a process for me too. This has been a transformation for me too. And that extended into the professional front. Like I've always been into functional fitness, so it wasn't too rough to change right there. But when I'm seeing posture and not able to breathe, like I've been more adamant about, we need to sit and take an hour for just breathing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
that's the foundations. And the functional patterning I've always been aligned with. But I mention energy a lot more now, and the way it travels by the awareness, and how focusing the awareness on different places can stimulate various results. And I'm explaining things in a way that links like masculine and feminine concepts, the giving and receiving principles. You know what I'm saying? As above, so below. The movements of your daily activities and the movement of the joints. Even talking about how the stiffness in your knees can be due to a lack of inflexibility in your being. Is there anywhere that you're refusing to adapt? We have deep conversations anyway.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's already set the stage, the environment for what kind of session we're about to have. So it's always been about movement in terms of full, strong, functional range of motion. You know what I'm saying? But where I've been like a little bit stuck in terms of how I want to approach this next phase is like, I've been doing qigong with certain clients as well, very basic stuff, and I've also been doing a lot of like really primal. I don't know if we could say primal movements, but just movement-based training for the sake of fluid movements. You know what I'm saying? Like flow training.
Yes, definitely.
So getting into more of that, and then trying to mesh that with even my dynamic warm-up, which would be considered more linear than what we're doing right now. So it's this, I'm in this position of bridging right now. Like if I had it completely my own way, meaning that, which I do, I'm making the changes, I'm making the baby steps, but it's also going to get to a point where you just can't go back. Like I'm telling clients about cleansing. I'm telling clients about, but you're going to have to make the jump with me. Like we can't just keep talking about it, you know? And that's why I need to have those facilities or those faculties set up within Muscle Mentality, so that when people come to me for that, again, knowledge, fitness, meditation, that's what we're about. Knowledge, fitness, meditation. Beautiful. And kicking the knowledge, the metaphysical knowledge that connects everything, that bridges it all. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're going to talk about anything during the session, like let's keep it around that. You know, that's the context, That's the reason why we're here,
Mm-hmm.
is to really understand that. Like, I want the seekers. I want the people that also, they may be brand new on the path, but they're ready to get started, and starting with the body is very important anyway. Like, it's one of the most important things. And with us in front of these computers, and with a lot of us taking cars and trains and all of that, sitting for hours upon the day, going to work, like, having that strong body, that working body, that quality of life will allow you to just have more and more breakthroughs. Like, you just wouldn't have to stop. It's just thinking about a vehicle that doesn't have to stop. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you can always be going.
Yeah.
So it's really about efficiency for me, but at that metaphysical level, like, that's the optimum, that's the prime efficiency. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
you got to link it all together. So I would feel like I had my hands tied behind my back when I need to slow down and just go over breathing with somebody, and how important it is to oxygenate the blood and go through the circulation through all of the bodies, and recognizing that energy needs to circulate as well, and how the breath actually, you're inhaling energy. So I have these conversations, but I want it to be systematized. I need it to be standardized. And so that's why I'm creating for myself. So Muscle Mentality Academy is really to do that, is to allow people to be trained in the method that I find myself. But that method is rooted in universal knowledge. That's the whole metaphysics. So going with the planets, planetary energies, going with various rhythms for breathing, various rhythms for like a choreographic flow with various rhythms. You know what I'm saying? So so much to implement, and I'm finding myself, like, even in that space, just being asked to make the jump. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, you started out with the bodybuilding, then you got into the strength, the strongman training, and you got into the powerlifting, and then you're going more functional fitness, and now you're incorporating healing. We're talking about healing now, and we're talking about range of motion. And I trained so many different clients, Akeem. I'm telling you, like, from age 7 to 71. You know what I'm saying? Like, such a range. Athletes, moms, you know, professors, like all different people out here in New York City. And so it's asking me to really come up with a solution that bridges the whole thing. And I'm finding myself meeting the challenge. So the transition is occurring right now. The biggest things I would say are the breath work, the breathing, focusing in on the breathing and making that an experience of its own. Like, that cuts down how much explaining I really need to do. Like, when you feel that, like, when you feel that energy flowing through you, it's undeniable. Like, somebody walks out feeling amazing, or just like, it just feels, it's supernatural for a moment. Like, you could get high on air. You could feel more full than you've ever felt before. You know what I'm saying? So I love when people do something they haven't done before, you know, and then they just look at you. It's just like, like, it's really amazing. I feel like, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced it too, man, but taking certain clients, and if you've had growth for about a year, right? And you've watched them grow, it almost feels like a sort of fathering of growth. Like, you've really assisted in somebody's, like, they took your advice over and over and over. They took your guidance over and over and over. And then look what we've done. Yeah. And I want to take that process all the way. You know what I'm saying? I just hate stopping short, because I'm a personal trainer, but you're asking me about your health, your diet, your sleep, your water intake, you know what I'm saying? So then if that's what you need, then let's go all the way, because I'm with it. But you got to be along for the ride. And that's where I'm at. I'm looking for the ones that's along for the ride.
Yeah, what I find is, you know, how we present ourselves to the public, to the media, the social media, is really gonna dictate who is attracted to us, right?
Yes.
So that's when you take this level of awareness and adding the metaphysical spirituality to our branding. And then once our branding exudes that, it's emitting this, then people are going to be coming to you. Like, at least for me, I had people coming to me who, like, first conversation, we're starting to go right into the depths of this knowledge. I'm like, yo, I'm so grateful.
Wow. Yes.
I'm so grateful to be putting out that energy that's attracting these clients to me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it's just been powerful to think about how we gotta take it another level with our branding and how we're communicating our message.
Yes.
And that's gonna cut a whole lot of these talks where someone comes to you wanting only something that you're not interested in giving them.
Yes.
You know, and people come to you with that direct, like, yo, I don't just want to work out. You know, I'm like, I got this emotion that I'm working through. I know that this can come through the body, and I feel like you can help me with
Wow.
it. And
Wow.
you know what I mean? I want to learn more.
You see, they come self-research. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the real care. And we're really going to do something there.
Yes.
Like we're really going to do something there because you did your research, you did your due diligence. That's how much you care about yourself. And then you said, I'm going to need help in this area. So I went to go look for Hakeem.
Yes.
Man, that's
powerful.
It's so powerful, brother. Like, I love it. Like, I'm so thankful that you found that, because that's what, it's coming, it's creeping up. But I guess, the branding, like you said, man, like just being so transparent and unapologetic about what you represent at all levels, you know what I'm saying? Because, that physical level is the one that radiates outwards. Like, eventually those people that we find online are going to want to know how we do it every day. You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
I want to live that truth all the way. You know, that's what I'm aiming to do.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I was like against social media for a bit because, I had all these negative connotations. It's like, it's vain, it's superficial. But once I accepted that as like a medium of communication, and like, I got to find my way through this stream, then things became like clear, then it became more flowing and into that.
That's an important topic too. Like, getting on social media and all this internet technology. Like, personally, I felt the same way as you. Like, I just couldn't be on Instagram for a minute.
Hey, man, all you see on Instagram is all these pictures, all these people talking about themselves. They're free. Like, I don't want nothing to do with that, right?
Yo, but let me tell you, bro, like, if you really curate your page, like your timeline, what you see, Instagram can be a really actually productive place for you. Like,
amazing.
It could actually be like, let me tell you my process. I basically had to unfollow all the attractive girls that I followed, like all the ones that were basically modeling on there, trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
And that I was giving my attention by following. I had to unfollow all of them. Then I had to unfollow all the comedy pages, like the ones that's just some cheap, funny laughs. Yes. And then, so this was the process, you know what I'm saying? Unfollowing just anything, and then following more and more of these spiritual pages, these conscious quotes of the day, and these higher conscious quotes and more expansive type of stuff. And then it led into one thing, into another. And I meet Shalom. Somehow I follow Shalom one day.
Beautiful.
And then that pops off. And then one day I see Conscious Collective Picnic over here in New York City. I don't remember how I found it, but I found it. And that event has had us synchronized and generating ever since. And man, the whole thing is just, it becomes more like, internet has been connecting me to so many people and social media. So the good comes with the bad. Like, we get connected, you know what I'm saying? And what you do with that connection is important. So you got to regulate it. Like, what's coming through this stream, it's only going to serve my growth.
Yes.
So this thing is supposed to enhance our connections. Okay, what kind of people do I want to connect with? You know, you can't just slide anything down my timeline.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It actually, it's enhanced my life a lot. Like, being able to connect to people from all different spaces.
Yeah, one thing I was like, when you do that filtering process through the social media, some people be like, but that's Instagram. Like, you don't need to do that. That's Instagram. But then when you come at it, is like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Exactly. Right? So the same way that you're going to filter in your life, the same way you're filtering in your conversations and what you're learning, you got to apply that to this social media if you want it to be working for you on that side of things as well, right?
Yes, exactly. How you do one thing is how you do everything. It's not compartmentalized. Like, to be that whole being, you got to be whole, like fully arrived, fully present. You know what I'm saying? And that was another thing I saw with Savan. Like, everything he arrived to, it was, again, the highest level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's been something big for me, because I would be the one to like go all the way in on certain work, but then slack on doing my laundry.
Yes.
Or then slack on doing the dishes or something like that. And then I'm realizing more and more how important it is to do everything to your highest standard. Like, it's important. Like, it reflects your quality of consciousness, because if you got any slack, there's an as above version to that slack.
Exactly.
And however much of that you allow is your personal decision.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm at a space where it's just like, all right, let's tighten up and let's see what changes. Let's be observers of this. Like, let's tighten up. Might as well try it. You know what I'm saying? It's been loose for so long. Let's see what happens when we tighten up.
Exactly.
And more often than not, all that energy tightens up. It goes exactly where it needs to. And then we get more things accomplished in less time.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So let's bring it back a little bit to the physical, the fitness side of things.
Yes.
One thing one thing that we can't help as who we are is to mesh the physical with the metaphysical
Yes.
and these other different realms. So I wanted to go in and talk a little bit with you about the metaphysics of fitness.
Yes.
You know, and let's just see where you take this.
Yeah.
let's just leave it with you. And you know, like what's the metaphysics of fitness? Like why is it so important for us to bring it into the physical side?
I would say grounding. Like, we have ideas, purpose, mission, grounding all of that into the body. Like, that's the ultimate, in my opinion, that's the ultimate connection. That's the ultimate bridge. Because you can have great thoughts, a great mind, but like, can it bridge to the body? Or you could feel a certain way. You could project like this thing. If we are experiencing it so often, what is the potential? You know what I'm saying? Like, the way we realize how much change we've made is when that daily physical experience really changes. Like, those little moment by moments that add up to be your whole day. Like, being fit metaphysically to me is being operational, like fully operational, like in the waking state and the dreaming state, to having everything clear, purified, circulating, like energy aligned, balanced, lots of energy pouring through when you need it, no energy leaks. And you can see the benefits to that at the physical level in itself. Like, not wasting energy is like biomechanics, like having proper form, not allowing forces to go outside the joints, like not allow them to go at weird angles where the energy needs to just divert itself at such a sharp rate. It's like a G-force hit your knee. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of these slight variations to just align and allow the energy to stack up or propel itself in a more potent way. You know what I'm saying? So, man, the metaphysics of fitness, like, where are we going to open this up at? The entry point has to be the breath. The entry point has to be the breath. It has to be recognizing that air is always available. You take that breath and you inspire life. Like, you just, that inspiration, that spiral, that speed, that's the air, that's the life. And then that same word, spirit. And you can see the connotations with just breathing in and taking it in, taking it up. Thoughts are air. Interacting with air allows you to clear your thoughts, circulating more and more circulation. You'll find that everything is circulation in the body. Like, everything is circulation, and energy needs to circulate. So when we recognize how much energy, this is the bridge. Energy, you feel it in the body. How do you know when you've made a change? When you feel it in the body. How do you know when you've really changed? Is when that same trigger doesn't affect you the same way anymore. How do you know when you've really changed? When you approach those same situations and you're able to make a new decision with new results, like truly new, ending patterns, breaking bonds. So, man, that metaphysical fitness is being completely operational on the physical plane, mental plane, astral plane, like emotional, etheric body. The whole thing is just having all of them in, because that's what you have. Like, that's what you're allotted. You're given a physical body. You got this dreaming body, and you got these thoughts and emotions. And from there, you have your uniqueness. And from there, you have your talents and gifts. And from there, you have your connections. So we got to maintain all of that. All of that needs to be maintained. It's not a one and done thing. Like this, that's the fitness. That's what we need to take care of. That's our responsibility. Because if we want to have more power and we want to be responsible for more power and be able to respond to more situations, which is what responsibility is, able to provide a new response or more responses. You got to have more power for that. You got to have a bigger decision-making space. But to have more decision-making power, you got to have more awareness. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about higher consciousness. Like, now that you're aware of more, what's the quality of your decision-making? Like, are your decisions in favor of all this self, or are your decision-making in favor of further division? You know, are you just taking us further from the source or closer to it? And that right there, like, if we define consciousness as awareness and decision-making or free will or choice, right? Whatever decisions that you make define the whole experience. That's everything. So to make somebody better at that, quote unquote, better, more efficient, more effective, more powerful, like we're training a lot of people to become more powerful, but to be balanced during that process and what they might approach and see and perceive. Like, if we're all trying to we're all trying to upgrade it, and we're all coming in at different levels. Like, there's people coming in on the fitness route, like just wanting to be big, just wanting to be strong, but they're doing something for themselves that in a way gets them in touch with their soul. You know, like, then you have people who dance, and you have people who, you know, just play baseball, and something about throwing the ball back and forth with their father makes them feel connected.
Oh yeah.
You know, like
on our last episode, we had a woman who came into her own through being a cam model.
A cam model.
Yeah.
Wow.
Modeling on webcam modeling. And
wow.
Yeah, bro. So it's like there's really no limit of how you can enter into this, right? How you can increase that consciousness, that awareness and decision making, right?
Yes.
Yes. When I had that, was powerful.
There's so many entry points.
So
like
many.
Everybody has that chance to find their way in. And the more, that's the uniqueness too. The path is so unique. Like, your way in inspires someone else's way in, you know, and that way in is kind of a way out of the prism and a way into self. But either way, we end up on such a exciting path, you know, an exciting path when we're all choosing to make higher quality of consciousness decisions. And those decisions would be towards unconditional love, towards all is self. So you're aware that all is self, but you're going to make an offense, an attack on self. So what disconnection within yourself is causing you to want to punish yourself? You know what I'm saying? What's asking you to seek that experience? So, okay, we gotta put you through full immersion of whatever block that you have towards loving yourself. This is why loving yourself can take it like real deep. Like, it's just a fundamental thing that can have trillions of myriad consequences, and they all need to be healed. So I feel that this is such deep work, and it's so needed, because whenever I hear people complaining about the world's problems, I'm kind of quiet. And that's because I feel like until everybody accepts the role that we all need intrinsic, intensive, deep healing, like, none of these problems are going to get fixed. You know what I'm saying? So everybody needs that opportunity to heal. Everybody needs an example. Like, okay, what does that look like? Like, what is this process? Because the path can seem pretty mystical. And what we need, though, is something that's a little bit more clear cut. You know, like, what is the path in it? Like, when we're all encouraging each other and ourselves.
You know, something I just want to touch on when you said the mystical mist. It makes me think of like when you're in fog and you can't see like further than 10 feet or 10 meters. And it just seems like you're lost. I don't know where I'm going. I can't see anything. But then when you look at yourself, you can see it's clear. Right? And then just to see that wherever you are is going to be clear. Right. So wherever you maneuver, it's going to like demystify.
There you go. And we were walking up this mountain, and we were walking through mist. And Naya, my partner, she made the comment, like, you can't even, it was so heavy, that fog. She's like, you can't even see 30 feet in front of you. But as soon as you walk through it, it's like you can see where you are, you can see where you're going. And literally shining that light, like you'll never know from here. Like you can't know there from here. At a certain place, your vision is just limited. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you were on it.
You gotta go experience. You gotta like kind of like you being the light, right? Once you go there, you demystify it because you experience it for yourself, right?
Yes. And in a way, you fashion it, you crystallize it yourself. Like when you could shine that light any way you want to, you could cut that mist any way you want to. Exactly. And that's been something powerful I've realized, is that now that I've got through that healing process, like, because I know we can always heal in the sense of there's always more ability or availability to refine ourselves. But at a certain point, you got to say you're healed. Like, we got to get to a point where we're like, all right, healed. And then let's what's the next thing? So I feel like the healing is getting to the control point, like where you just get to the space where, all right, like I got myself under control. I can, like, things are coming up. It's not like I don't still see the patterns, but I have the toolkit to deal with them. I firewalled my mind. I've deprogrammed a lot. If I do get hurt, I do know how to heal that. You know what I'm saying? Like you got it together. You know what I'm saying? We still got repairs to make, but so we're at the control point. And at that point, it's like, all right, now what? Like, what do we want to do now? And then so you ask for something, or you put your intentions towards something, and then you get it. And then you realize, like, okay, like what I said was going to happen, happened. Right. So now I'm flexing my manifestation power. What is it that I'm going to ask for? Or what is it that I'm going to push? Like, this is metaphysical fitness as well, because the breathing becomes so inherent in your projections. Just being able to supply your projections with the necessary energy. So if you try to be successful at anything, it's going to need energy, whether it's loving your wife or building that business you keep talking about. Like, it's all going to require energy. So it ties in right there, is you need the energy, the fuel to supply your projections. You know what I'm saying? So I know I went off on a little tangent, but I was going on about
I just wanted to touch on why you get that back. I just wanted to touch on how you're saying, like, there's always more healing to be done, but you got to come to a point where you say you're healed, right? It's like, is your cup half full, half empty? No, it's like, my cup is full now, and I'm sharing what's like pouring over. But I'm going to continually get that flow, that current of refilling and emptying, or, you know what I mean? That flow is constantly going, you know, it never stops, right?
No, it's a constant balance. You know what I'm saying?
And as we're in this dualistic realm, this world, it's like you're perfect, but you're imperfect. You know, like you're healed, but you're unhealed.
You're already whole.
You're whole, but, you know, like, still gotta uncover some things, right? You're unlimited, but you're in the limited plane.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. So it's like we always have these little things to work through, you know. So
paradoxes, man.
These paradoxes, yes.
That's where I'm at. Like, the manifestation power. What am I capable of? Because I want to be more specific about what I'm asking for moving forward. Yes. And when I say asking for, I'm asking of myself. Like, this is what we're moving forward with. All right, then let's do it. You know. And so, being more specific about that, like, I've been asking for excitement and joy in addition to that next stage, because I found it really important that I asked for that, because that first round was lacking that. You know, it's like I got what I said I was going to get, but I'm complaining though. Yeah. And so joy, excitement. So I've been really in this gratitude space recently, and it's just, I have this natural tendency to be hard on myself. So the gratitude has been powerful, because it's just a self-perpetuating generator. And then you have people around you encouraging you. Naya's always encouraging me and supporting me. And I've been getting so much support from the tribe and clients and parents, like everything. So many people are supporting me, and I'm in such a great place. And I'm just finding myself grateful for the memories I've had and the places I've been and what I've seen and accomplished. And from that, it made me just like, I'm like really chill with my manifestations right now. Like, I'm moving urgently, but I'm I'm almost taking my time at the same time.
Paradox.
The paradox.
You know what makes me think about like Steph Curry? Like he worked hard to get that jumper he got now, that game that he has, and now he's just like flexing to see what he can do with it. You know, what can I do with it now?
What can I do with it?
He's not trying overly hard. You know what I mean? He's just like centered within his power, and he's just testing and having fun now. It starts to become fun.
Yes.
You know, like, yo, like it's a beautiful place once it becomes fun and you recognize like how powerful you truly are.
Yes. Like wielding that power.
And is there anything off top that you could think of, like certain movement or a certain past the breath of that's like relating to the metaphysical or some different greater than physical aspect?
Yes. So I talk a lot about the feet. So the feet as a source of balance. And we have that fifth metatarsal balance and support point that often gets overlooked. So talking about how if your feet on the floor, you're not even in balance, like easily, like you just got to see that something at another level is out of balance within you. Like if you, of course, this is a dualistic plane, 2 feet, but you have this dynamic front to back movement, left to right, that is just this constant interplay. And if you could balance all of those interplays, if you could get more and more sensitive, more and more subtle with the way your feet even interact with the ground, like more fondle the floor. Don't just stand on your feet so numb and dumb. Like those sneakers are dumbing your feet.
Take those shoes off, right?
Take them off. You know, it's hard in New York to do that. But I get them to, I'll get them to take them off, and then we'll do a little bit of like calf raises and walking around on that fifth metatarsal, doing lunges on that fifth meta, all of that. So I would say the balance is a big one. I mean, if I had to think of something really, really simple though, is the like a pelvic tilt.
Yes.
Like just locking the pelvis posterior to anterior tilt, just rocking it front to back, and then just breathing with that. Like being able to tell them like that's your generator, that's a piston. Boom. That's your back and forth. That's the interplay. That's the dynamism, the dynamo. So you got the mechanical force of the pelvis rocking, and you're bringing that in with the energetic potential of the oxygen, and then you sparking that oxygen, and you lighting a fire, and you feel that heat in your solar plexus right there in your gut as well, and you feeling that, and like that moment is when I see most people like get excited about energy. You know what I'm saying? Or, oh man, I got another one, tapping.
Yes.
Like tapping, like part of the warm up. You know what I'm saying? Just talking about moving that energy around all the way to the bones. Like we're tapping all the way through to the bones and making sure that everything gets addressed. You know, nothing goes unaddressed. Everything gets addressed. Like you need to make sure that you're maintaining your bodies. What do you have to take care of? Best believe that thing needs repair at some point. Best believe that it needs routine maintenance. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up.
You have an ear, it's going to need to be cleaned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's straight up. I had this one of my clients came to me, and she hit me off with something that kind of like opened my eyes up. She's like, she wanted to be able to invert, right? She wanted to be able to invert for the sake of feeling like she is balanced. She's able to support herself when things get upside down. You know what I mean? I was like, whoa. She hit me with that. She's like, yeah, I just want to be able to be inverted and fight that fear. It's like such a big thing for me in my life to be able to do that.
Wow.
I was like, damn, we're going to get you inverted.
Yeah, I'm on board for that. I'm on, like attacking that part of yourself. Because some of these goals, man, these goals can be so simple and basic, man. I gotta take a note from you, man, about how you're attracting that crowd over there. I know that is something special you got brewing over there in Vancouver.
What else? Do you got anything on that metaphysical before we move on to another topic?
Yes. The the connective tissue in the body is so important.
Mm-hmm.
If you can explain like the anterior sling, posterior sling, the posterior longitudinal line, the anterior longitudinal line. So this fascia, this extracellular matrix of interconnected connective fibers that weave themselves in tracts throughout the body, and recognizing that there's connective tissue meridians like the energetic meridians in Qi in traditional Chinese medicine. So if you pull up anatomy trains, or what they're called trains of pull, if you look those up, what you'll find is just all of these lines of tension throughout the body, and it's all within connective tissue. So when somebody learns that you have a band of connective tissue that sits at the bottom of your foot, the sole of your foot, and then you follow a train or a line up the calf, past the knee, up the hamstring, up the glute, up the lower back, crosses to the opposite shoulder, through the neck to the top of the skull. And that's one line of connective tissue. And if you relieve tension or create tension across any point of that line, it creates a general effect across the whole line. Yes. So what a way to incorporate connectivity. Like
that makes me think about like how it's that line that connecting you from your top of your head to the bottom of your foot. And
yes.
If you relieve tension or add tension anywhere along that line, that path, then you relieve the tension throughout the whole thing, right?
Exactly.
So it's like in life, on any path that you're on, if you relieve tension on this area in your life, then that's gonna release the tension in other ways. You know what I mean? So
yes.
Say you you relieve tension from work. You know, you tell your manager what you've been thinking. You know, you just had to get this all off your chest. You release tension there, then you relieve tension in your whole life.
Yes.
You know,
and this concept is so important. How would we name that? This concept of, it's holistic essentially, but it needs to be explained deeper for the common person to really like live it, because that's the reason why you have a lower back issue and we're rolling out your foot.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's the reason why I'm massaging your traps to get to your shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we're taking that a bigger step, right? You're always in your neck. You're always in a defensive holding pattern, right? Every time that you breathe, you're going up into your neck. It seems like you can never relax. What does that say about other areas of your life? You know, or you're never sleeping and you're moving like this, or you know, like, if we can explain this concept of how connected it all is, because you say that and it almost has a connotation to it, like it's all connected. Somebody you say that to, it's like, all right, yeah, I know everything's connected. Like most people get it already, like that everything's connected, but they're not living it though. And so if you just come in with the everything's connected, it's because I've said it many times, because it's true. You know what I'm saying? So if I come in that way, I just find that it's just like pretty quickly it's kind of fluffed out. Like it just doesn't hold the same amount of weight or meaning, you know? So finding a way to even explain that connectivity will be huge for our position, where we're bridging people from the fitness industry and bringing them into the metaphysical knowledge and how to live that life.
Exactly. And not allowing the compartmentalization of everything in our life. You know, so it's like once we realize, like, I got a sore right shoulder, right? And then we try to like poke right into where it hurts. It's like, no. You don't have to go to right where it's sensitive, even in life.
Yes.
You don't have to attack the part where it's most sensitive and most painful for you. Think about the surrounding areas that will help release that tension before you go in.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And not thinking it's compartmentalized. This is my spirituality self. This is my learning, educational self. This is my exercise self. And be like, yo, all connected on that. You know what I mean?
Did I get all my selves accounted for? Y'all good?
You know
Mental
what I mean?
self, we good. Emotional self, we did our affirmations today. We're good. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You know?
No, you're so right, man. We got to connect. We got to collapse the whole thing and merge it. Because the compartment, I think you said it perfectly. The compartmentalization aspect is what limits us so much. If we can make working out be your emotional healing as well, because you're saying affirmations while you do those chest flies to your heart. You know, I love myself completely. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. Because that brings me, like, when I have someone lying down on their back and they hug their knees into their chest.
Yes.
And like hug yourself. Yes. Show that love to yourself.
Yes. Yes. I love that, man.
Like, hug that in. Like, show some love.
I'm gonna do that. Hey, I'm using that one for sure.
And it's just like right then and there, they just like, oh yeah, you know, like they start to feel it. You know what I mean? They don't really think about it. Like, it feels good, but then you realize, oh, hug it in, you know?
They feel human. They feel human again, man. They can stop being robotic for an hour.
Yes, exactly. So that's a powerful thing that I feel like we're doing here, and to continue, you know, uncovering this and making it go in a way, streamlined fashion, I guess would be the way, you know? So we have the terminology, you know, we don't have to use all these words with all this like heavy connotation behind it, you know? So I want to kind of uncover a little bit about your mindset and that mindset into, you know, that self-love and self-healing.
Yes.
And as a way to like get us to that level of growth.
Yes. Man, that's a great question. I still have heavily influenced by that Stoic philosophy in terms of I subscribe to this idea that everything's my fault and all is self. So we're all connected. And if I see something that's not working, then how is that reflecting from within me and radiating outwards? And what are these beings showing me about myself? Because they're all myself. So I essentially always, when I'm, you know, there's a place when you're in the flow and you trust that you trust the process, right? I'm at the point where I can trust the process. I'm not in any energies that aren't supporting my growth. For somebody who's in an environment that's detrimental to their growth, it's different. But for me, I have the environment and the people around me and the energies that I'm in and the space I'm in, it's supporting my growth consciously. So with that in mind, I can trust the process of who shows up in my life. I can trust. I basically I position myself for growth all the time. And what that means is that I know we're all connected. If I don't feel that connection, that's me getting in the way somehow, shape, or form. And I unfold always. I'm always going to let go. I'm always going to, I really feel like I could deal with anything. And one of my greatest gifts is that I'm so adaptable. I'm able to be in so many different spaces. And from that space, I just realized like I could let go of all of it. Like I could really, and I think that's the key. Like that's the forgiveness. That's the letting go. That's the being able to move through many spaces, many memories without getting clogged up on any. Like keep it moving. Like the experiences are self-perpetuating, but if you get caught up over 1, 2, or 3 or 7, you'll be running a cycle, running a pattern. So when I say position myself for growth, I'm always going to put myself in the position to let go of what doesn't serve me. I'm always going to put myself in the position to embrace unconditional love. I'm always going to put myself in the position to go bigger than me, beyond my ego, beyond the identity. I'm always going to position, and paradoxically, I'm always going to take care of Mark Anthony Roman, and I'm always going to take care of the people he loves. You know what I'm saying? So positioning myself, meaning I'll take those uncomfortable points because I know it's bigger than me, or this emotion at this time, or this thought coming through. Like when you know that truth, I'll put myself in that position. And that has been my way of approaching everything, is like I can deal with everything. Most of the way I think about it or have all these emotions tied to it or triggers, they don't matter that much. What matters is that the experience is had. And so let's go through it because the desire to have that experience is here. So let's go through it instead of thinking about it too much and projecting about it too much. And let's go through it. And from that, we'll grow because we know that we put our everything into that moment when we're present and we arrive fully. Position myself for growth. If I see a challenge and I see something in me, like I may have to be super humble in this moment and even feel humiliated when I put myself in the position to force others to force me to dance per se. That was one thing I just read today from when I was 21. I'm 24 now, that I really wanted to learn how to dance. And I put myself consistently in positions to be around people that are going to force me to dance. And meaning like I went to Rutgers University, like hanging out with the dance team over there, hanging out with dancers over here in New York City, making sure I go, like I would put myself, and it hurt. And this is a more mundane thing, but like putting myself in the position to be uncomfortable and grow. Let me think of one deeper, like this whole idea of wanting to be right. Like I've put so much effort into learning knowledge and learning the metaphysical knowledge and finding the blueprint to everything and finding my way into everything. I feel like I had to learn a lot about a lot of things. And so I've become of value to people in my experience because of that. It's because you probably didn't read all those books that I did. You know, you probably didn't spend all that time trying to apply it to your life. Like I feel like I see a lot of people in patterns. And so not even from an egoic perspective, but you're just probably not putting all that time into yourself. And I've been into this from a young age. So I'm like, you know, it's just time. And it's not just time. It's the awareness, like how present you were during that time.
Yeah.
But also it's time. Like if you haven't put that much time in for yourself, you probably don't have as much of a toolkit to deal with certain things. So I've done that work. So I've felt this thing about wanting to be right come up. And I basically had to squash that by putting myself in positions to be humbled, you know, and by force almost. Like Naya is a firecracker. Like she's fiery. Yeah. And she has humbled me, you know, and that brings my power out further because I'll put myself in the position to grow and to be uncomfortable at certain times when I know the truth. Like, you know the truth. It's just when are you ready to act on that truth? And I'm in a space right now where I got the motivation to act on that truth. And even when it's like, I'm loving fire right now because fire as an element, it just allows me to burn all the sediment away. And burn all the bullshit, basically, like all the things that those small thoughts, those small emotions, those burn them all away and see what really stays. And then work from that place, because that place right there, that's the one that's going to sustain you beyond when everybody else is gone or you in those lonely moments. Like when you realize you've been doing things for other people, that's when you feel really alone. You know what I'm saying? And then it kind of just falls apart. But when you are completely involved in that space of connection with everything, like when you dissipate that connection to just your identity and you move from that space, that's when it all really matters. So again, another long way of saying I'll put myself in the position to grow. Like uncomfortable, it will be intentional with the potential, I just know who's going to open me up. Like if I'm holding myself back and it's not something I can just do in the inner, like just self, maybe I need to go step into the trigger and then try to react differently, if that makes sense. You know, it's like doing it in the field versus like that inner meditation, solo housework. You know what I'm saying?
What's your definition? What's your term? How do you explain self-love? I always find like everybody has their own little definition, and I'm interested to hear what yours is.
Wow. That's a great question. My definition of self-love would have to be the amount of care that you give to yourself, the amount of self-worth and self-care. So if you are not acknowledging self, if you don't feel like you're worth much, if you don't feel like, basically you won't take care of self. So that, like, I'm really practical. Like, if you're not taking care of yourself and you don't feel like you're worth much and you're not acknowledging yourself, then I would have to say you don't love yourself. So that love to take care of yourself and discover more about yourself and get deeper into your, like, self-awareness, which I guess you could also say self-introspection and self-care, you know, like right there, the maintenance of self and diving deep into just it always comes back to health for me. Like, I feel like if you aren't taking care of yourself, you don't love yourself. If you're not taking care of your health at a spiritual level, at a physical level, mental level, like just this care to be a caretaker, to maintain, you know, that's self-love to me.
I think that's an important, like a important distinction, an important emphasis on that point, because, you know, a lot of self-love going on out there. What they say is like, yo, self-love is like they only love themselves after they get hurt. You know, after someone, after I got broken up with, you know, I feel I'm going to love myself now. You know, I'm putting me first. And then, you know, when that comes about, it's not really looking into, well, how can I care for myself and all of my bodies?
Yes.
You know, so that's an important distinction to bring up, is like that self-care, you know, that self-awareness.
That's real. It's because if that intention of what you explained there, that's reactionary. You know, I came out of a bad relationship, so I love myself now because ain't nobody else gonna love me. You know what I'm saying? That person's still hurt.
And it's so,
but that was me too. That was me as well. That was me as well. I definitely came out of a tough relationship after 4 years, and it ended in a situation of my own making. Like, I could see it occurring over 4 years, you know? And that process of letting go and that relationship, that is what really like started shaking things up within, you know? And then that made me want to go even deeper. Like, I was reading a lot, but it made me just want to go even deeper, because when you're so demotivated like that, you just stop and you're just like, man, what am I even doing?
Who am I?
What am I, you know what I'm saying? What am I even doing moping around? Like, let's get to it. Let's get to it already.
That spark plug, having those things spark you to make those changes is huge, you know? But it's key to make sure that we're actually learning and we're applying, and we don't fall back into that same pattern.
Exactly.
You know, so like, oh, I went deeper. I started learning more about myself, caring for myself more. I get with someone and I just hand off all the responsibility once again.
Right.
You know, so it's key. I wanna get into a little special segment here with you. Talking about that flow, you know, flow, keeping it to the flow. I saw you freestyling on one of your IG stories, and I was like, yo, I wanna hear that live. And I want to see if I can get in on that, you know?
Hey. Yo, we're going to get the back and forth right now?
You know what I mean? See if I can get in on that.
I would love to, man. I would love to.
Let's see. I got a little beat right here.
You found one?
I just got a little something from a video that I put out.
Dope.
Someone from the tribe, Dance, and we'll see. We'll play some of these ones, but let me check this one here. Let's see if you can hear that.
Let's see. Yeah, I can hear that. Oh, 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 oh. Moving litmus, infinite truth. I got the quickness, infinite fitness. How we lift it. Oh my goodness, I'm doing a handstand. I'm gripping. Pull up bars, we muscle up ours. We get it. Moving with Akeem, we out in Vancouver, and I got new maneuvers. I'm doing backflips and side flips and air tucks, all types of shit. It's muscle mentality, moving and we muscle realities, feeling like Everything we do is for wholeness. Balance vibrations, you already know this. We moving with connections, we effervescing and infinite, unlimited. I keep on moving, I keep on getting it. Freestyling, style wildin'. I'm feeling like a Staten Island type of child, and I'm moving in, I'm wildin'. I keep it hiving, and yeah, we vibing, high vibing. We the tribing, we alivin'. We alive.
Hey. We go inside, and when things come into reality, it doesn't scare me. I just realize it's all the growth, and I don't envy anybody in my reality. I'm showing love, and because I know that love is shown back to me. So I just try to embody, and everything is flowing in my body. That's why I'm worried about range of motion. And no, there is no magic potion. You just got to keep it going. And we got to realize that all is self, and realize that health is wealth, and act from these maxims.
Yes. All these maxims, keep it going. Act them.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Vibe true. Yeah. Keep the vibe true.
Is that still going?
It's still going, man.
Oh, bet.
I didn't even want to come in after you said you know. I was like, nah.
Hey, I should have let you keep going. I was like, I keep doing it. Yo, that's what's up.
Let's see. Let's get it.
All right, let's keep getting it. Yeah, let's get another one. Man, I got hype and then it was hard to hear it.
Gotta know the value of self. I realize, and I look at myself and know I'm supersized, and know that Mark Roman from the Muscle Mentality, he's talking about how we can muscle reality.
Yes. Muscle reality. They say it's fatality, but it happened how we said it happened. I got a manifestation that I'm stabilizing. We keep on moving and we got the tides in. There's full moon, you know that the tides is rising. I got the waves flowing across the page that I just wrote in. I got my journal holding my potions. My thoughts are so potent. They lick off my lips, and yes, I say it with a wisp. There's a mist that I form. Crystallization, projections in the morn. Tell me you rising. Tell me the tribe is. Tell me we vibing, infinite on the highness. I'm feeling it wildin' out in cosmic. I was born in Shaolin. Now I'm moving orbit around. All right. Wholeness.
Wholeness. Man, that's vibes, man.
We can keep getting it.
Let's go one more.
One more. We gotta do one more.
We got one more for the people. One more for me, man. This is hella hype.
Let's get it.
Do we want to throw a topic out there for you?
Yes.
I want you to talk about gratitude.
Gratitude. Infinite appreciation. I'm so thankful that you really made it. I'm so glad you arrived in your highest vibe. You said, bring your own energy to me. You sent to me. You're heavenly. You give me everything from here to Beverly Hills. And yes, I got feels for you. You open me up. And yes, I'm so appreciative. So keep on pushing your creative juice or your force. I need it. Of course, we got a creation on the way. Yes, we know we paved the way for everybody on the way. I'm saying children, all the future, and appreciate their presence. Cause you know what, you got two, we got two of us, two of eyes, two of lies. They keep talking, dude.
Two eyes, they realize.
Yes, two eyes, still alive.
This reality is mine, and realize that everything is coming is a sign.
Yes.
These flowers, they are a vine. And
yes.
I'm rising, grand rising to all my people, and realizing that we vibing, and all this energy and all this self. And all I do is everything I do for me. But what I do for Rakeem is gonna help the reality. So everything I do,
yes, all is self. Oh,
man, too much vibes.
Oh man,
that's always something I wanted to do. So you know, fun, much blessed. Like, thank you for that, bringing that energy.
Thank you for this, man.
We gotta make that shit cool, man. We gotta make living this life cool, right?
Facts.
You know?
Like, we need to make this the way. Like, it needs to be the way of being. Like, you said it. Make it cool. And music is what sets the vibe so many times. And we can't have things that are too vanilla. It's got to have layers to it. And it's got to have real connections to what people are dealing with. Because there's a reason why people are connecting and resonating with what's going on right now. Is because you got to have two sides for a connection. You got to have the input and you got to have the masculine and the feminine. You got to have the prong and the plug, you know what I'm saying? So
Straight
you got to
up.
meet people where they're at. And so if we could teach or spin or tell new stories, tell new stories based on the same problems though. Like, what have you been through and how did you alchemize that and living that experience to the highest example? I'm really into music, and I'm definitely moving forward with my musical career, and
Beautiful.
rapping and singing has been a huge part of it. And it's mainly like it evolved from spoken word. So it's like I just take it forward with the rapping, and then the melodies come in at the same time. So it's another passion of mine. And I even have a blog called a category called Metaphysics in Music, and essentially just highlighting the blueprint, the metaphysical blueprint within the music, and what are some ways in which our artists exemplify it, whether consciously or unconsciously. What are some ways in which universal alignments are occurring and certain vibrations are coming through in the music, and the collective is responding in strength to certain ideas, right? And what are some examples of that? You know what I'm saying? So I love exploring that. You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful. So, I'm looking forward to hearing what comes out, and even like collaborating or connecting on that side of things.
For sure, brother. We need it.
We gotta bring that. We gotta be dynamic in our offerings. You know what I mean? We gotta be dynamic. We gotta be like the one thing, talking about Stoic philosophy. What was his name? Seneca. Seneca had a letter talking about the philosopher's mean, right? Where it's like, you could be basically as woke, as conscious as possible, but don't throw it in people's faces. Make it so that when you're out, no one can really pick you out just by your way you dress or by the way you're speaking or like anything right away. But once they get close enough, once they get close and to the eye that can see it, they're going to see the difference.
Yes.
Right? So be able to come forth with that, like we're part of the culture, because we are, right? Yes. So go forth like we're part of the culture, but then realize like, yo, if you come around here, there's layers and there's depth to this, right?
Yes.
So that philosopher's mean is something that I always love to keep on the top of the head,
Yeah, that's a great one, because that reminds me of just this line of a poem from Emily Dickinson that I think about a lot, where she says, let truth dazzle gradually, unless every man be blind. And it just hit me with, again, I read a lot and I continue to, and a lot of things that your average person wouldn't probably read, but is highly beneficial, highly important. You ever read those things where it's just like, if everybody knew this, it felt like so many problems would be solved? So I would just hit people with the whole thing, and it's just like, it's not connecting. It's just like, you don't care as much as me. And I had to get to a point where, I even told my close friends, like, I wish you cared about the things I cared about. Maybe that's selfish of me, and so I just had this urge to just splurge, and just realizing that, the truth, it needs to dazzle, meaning entertain gradually, or every man will be blind. It'll be too bright and they won't even see it. They'll miss it. Yeah. They got to grow at their own pace, their own process. And it ties into the entertainment, which Savon's been talking about more recently. It's like having entertainment for our kids. Like, it can't just be educational. It needs to has to have that sauce to it that makes it fun. Like, I was even thinking about telling stories for kids. Like, how much it needs to evoke, the emotion, what excites people, right? So all that to say, I be going on these tangents, man. I'm excited to be here, brother.
I'm excited, man. There's a lot, like, I feel like we can go on talking forever, you know what I mean? Like, I felt that connection, like we were aligned, and we have so many things in common through the digital means without ever really being in contact with you. And then this conversation just like cemented it. Like, yo, it's the vibe. That's my brother. You know what I mean? Just like so much alignment. you know,
Yes.
so I'm looking forward to, connecting and growing and putting things together with you and just witnessing you and all that you do.
Yes, for sure. And I feel the same way, brother. When I saw you and what you're doing, it just was completely aligned. And I didn't even rush it or force it because I'm like, in due time, this thing is going to work out perfectly. And here we are. And
Hmm.
this is just the beginning.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. So, where can the listeners, the
Yes.
shaman listeners, find you? Where would you like them to get in contact with you?
Um, you could hit me at mark@musclementality.com. That's the email. You could find me on IG, Muscle Mentality Mark with a Mark with a K. Or musclementality.com, where you're basically going to see my mindset in words through the blog and my offerings.
Mm, beautiful. And what do we have to look forward to in the next couple months? You got anything
Yes.
brewing up? What's going on?
Yes. So for any New York listeners, there'll be another Muscle Your Reality workshop within the next month or two. Then we also have, so that would be the second one. Then we also have these, this life coaching that's really launching. That's what I'm really excited about, getting
Mm,
more deep into the life coaching, that intrinsic process of
yeah.
taking my role further than personal trainer
Hmm.
and really all encompassing with life coach. So that's going to be at a high, that's going to be heightened. And then also these fitness training programs. So I'm ready, not even just programs, but videos and content. I'm ready to push forward on that fitness, like in broad day, meaning how I train, what kind of things I'm into, what I do, what I know,
Hmm.
by
Hmm.
simply living it, embodying it, because
Yes.
that's what's most important. I have a body too, and I got to maintain it. I
Hmm.
might as well include us in the process because it is muscle mentality, and that
Hmm.
physical is so important. But I did feel like I had to come into this just like really setting the stage with how deep and how important this is to me.
Hmm.
So I had to go with that spiritual meditation, um, meditation oriented brand approach in the beginning.
Yeah.
But now I feel like, all right, everybody gets it. They know what I'm about. So like, okay, now we can get into the body with that context.
Mm.
So that's what we're moving forward with. The metaphysical fitness is at a high, and I'm using myself as the example. And you can find me on YouTube. It's Mark Roman. You find me on Instagram, Muscle Mentality Mark. And as the weather warms up out here in New York City, we're gonna be
Mhm.
going harder and harder. And it was 67 today, so it's about time. So yeah, that's what you really expect from me is more on the fitness tip, more on the videos,
Yeah.
programs for that. Find me on the life coaching and moving forward with oh boy, what was that first one I mentioned? Um, Well, it might have slipped through, but yeah, that's basically what I'm working through on.
Mhm.
I got it on the recording.
Oh, your first one is your workshop.
The workshop, yes, Muscle
Hmm.
Your Reality
Hmm.
workshop coming within the next month or two.
That's a blessing. So yeah, if for anyone out there in New York or close wants to make the trip, stay
Yes,
tuned to Mark for that workshop.
for
And just
sure.
everyone else, like straight up, like go tune into his content, tune into his website, and just take it in. Like we're all here about trying to be more about this life, trying to raise our vibration, raise our consciousness. And that takes surrounding yourself in the physical and also on the digital side of things with the people who are actually embodying that. So Mark is the example. He's embodying that. So the more people we have like Mark to follow along to see what's going on with him, the higher we're going to be able to bring ourselves and each other. So
Mhm.
just doing yourself, like I'm doing myself a favor by going and checking into your content, and everyone listening is the same thing. So make sure you go check that out and show that love.
Yes, I appreciate you, bro. That's high vibes, blessings, bro.
High vibes, man. And so what would you like to leave, if anything, what would you like to leave the listeners with?
I would just say that, listen, for me along this ride, I'm a master in training, and I'm refining myself and refining my technique. And that's what muscle mentality is for me. It's my mindset of how I approach everything. And so everything going forward from the spirituality and how to apply it to the body, and every projection we want to get to, and every manifestation we want to make happen, make real. And then what happens when we leave this plane, like taking care of all of that. That's my intention with muscle mentality and sharing that path. And so I am very transparent, like, because I've forgiven myself so much, and because I'm so beyond the story in a sense, like I don't have a lot of those holdups that will withhold me from sharing, you know, like I don't mind going deep and being honest and authentic with my path. And I feel that that's the real generator for what helps us all wake up faster, when we're all transparent, when we're all in open books, you know. And everybody has to make that decision for themselves if it's safe for them to be vulnerable like that. I find that the people I'm connecting with right now, I can be vulnerable with, and the spaces I find myself in, the vibes are all seeking to support me. So for you tuning into me, if you keep up with me along my path, you'll just know what it's like to have that support with, you know, very, very powerful, prominent figures, you know, like prominent people that I feel I finally found some people to really learn by their examples at a rapid rate. And by the time things are just keeping up, staying more and more potent. And it's what have this sweater that says, "What a time to be aligned."
Yeah, I love
And
it.
it's just what a time, you know what I'm saying? So I really feel like if you felt anything of this message that we brought forward today, I really feel like you would enjoy what I have to share based on what I've learned. I'm basically a knowledge head who's at the control point and ready to apply more and more and more, and ready to share more and more of that process. So it's going to be an exciting time. It
What
already
a
is.
time to be aligned.
What a time to be alive, baby.
Blessings and wholeness, family. Thank you for tuning into the Modern Day Shamans podcast. Catch you on the next one.
Yes, wholeness.
Instead of saying 80-20, like it's 80% nutrition, 20% gym, it's actually 100-100. Your energy must meet your event, you know, and it's the same thing. Your inner must meet your outer. They have to be equal in order for you to be able to move forward where you want to be at. Otherwise, you'll feel that tension in some way.